966.
We are speaking now with Riyadh-based restaurateur Norah Ortiz, who is founder of the popular authentic Mexican restaurant Don Reuben's, located in the Diplomatic Quarter. Don Reuben's is the first authentic taco shop in the kingdom and recently won the highly commended Riyadh Time Awards for Best Latin American Restaurant in the capital city. Norah, I'm already hungry now. We haven't even started talking yet. Thank you so much. Welcome to the 966.
Thank you for having me. This is great.
Let's just start at the beginning in your journey. You're San Diego born and raised,
Right.
and here you are in Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, with one of the hottest restaurants in a booming restaurant scene.
Absolutely.
And let's go to the beginning. Where did this all begin, and how did it start to get you where you are now?
Well, first let's take it back. I met my my ex-husband back in 1994, I believe. We married quite quickly. Didn't have children for a while. I actually came to Saudi Arabia in 97 when Princess Diana died, actually. A very different country back then. When I came, I covered from head to toe. There was a lot of matawas. We weren't really allowed to go out. There wasn't a lot of there was restaurants, but most of them, there were just either men or family sections. Every once in a while we'd get stopped and asked for the papers to show that we were married. So it was a very different time then. I stayed here for about 8 months, went back home, came back in 2005, and the country did change quite a lot from 97. And had my children, raised them, had a few different jobs throughout those years, and then my divorce took place. And when that happened, I said to myself, you just kind of look at your life and see where are you at now? What is it that you want to do? So my children were already grown up. I have 4 children, 2 girls and 2 boys. My youngest is 14.
Wow.
And the rest, they're young adults. So I decided to do something that I wanted to do, which was I love cooking. And I said one of my dreams was to open the first authentic taco shop, because being in San Diego, we'd cross over to Tijuana, have the most delicious tacos, flautas, tortas, whatnot. And I said, if somebody does this before I do, nothing against the Saudis, but I said, if a Saudi opens up the first Mexican, because I here in Saudi, there's a lot of things go through like a fad. So for example, you'll see a restaurant open, it goes through this massive boom. You'll see just people standing in line trying to eat the food. And within 4 or 5 months, dies down, restaurant closes. And I didn't want to be one of those stories. I said, I want to go ahead and grow this organically, slowly. So I did a feasibility study, noticed that there was no authentic Mexican foods. Most of them were Tex-Mex. We have Fire Grill, something very similar to Chipotle. There was a Taco Bell, a couple of other Mexican restaurants, but again, it wasn't authentic Mexican food. And being raised by my mother, she actually had 2 restaurants. So I had the recipes, I had the know-how, and I just took a chance, a very big chance, because I literally had no funds to open up this restaurant, and I still don't know how I did it, to be honest. No idea.
I have to say that it's super common in international cities, especially in Europe. I mean, and obviously the Middle East, that there's just no authentic Mexican cuisine. It's all the things that you mentioned, Taco Bell, Chipotle, and pretty much that's it. So when you get the craving and you're over there, it's like you can't get it.
And there's something too that's really interesting. When I arrived here, and I'm sure Richard's seen, there's a lot of diplomacy, including in the whole restaurant and coffee shop scene. It's starting to change a little, but there is no concept of having a joint. And growing up in San Diego, and you're going to Mexico, that's all you come across are little joints being ran by family. You'll see the mother in there, the father, sometimes the children helping out. So as an expat, I wanted to not just sell food, but also kind of have a sense of community in the restaurant. So the beauty is I have a lot of foreigners, a lot of military guys that just come in, and sometimes they even get choked up and they said, they just come and say, thank you for having this place. We actually forget we're in Saudi. And then I have a lot of Saudis that studied abroad and fell in love with the Mexican cuisine. And it's kind of hit or miss, to be honest, because a lot of people aren't used to the different tastes. We have the chile guajillo, chile ancho, the homemade corn tortillas, flour tortillas. So it's been a challenge, but to be honest, now it's very accepting, and everybody's kind of starting to understand the whole concept of a joint.
Well, there is one thing that Saudis do have, and that's familiarity with eating with their hands. And when you eat a taco, you eat it from, and I've seen photos of your restaurant online where you have a sign that says how you eat a taco is from the sides, not from the top or the bottom. This is the right way to do it. So that's really cool.
So
Right.
I'm back, guys. I cut out for a bit there. I couldn't get either one of you. I don't know if you guys covered this, but Nora, who is Don Reuben?
So Don Reuben is my grandfather, and Don in Spanish means, he's the Don, the big guy. And that's what he was to everybody. When he actually passed away, we found out in his funeral, we had people coming from different cities just wanting to pay the respect, because he had helped out so many people without us knowing, financially, emotionally. So he's been one of my idols, and somebody that was consistent in my life as well.
You mentioned when talking beforehand, Nudwa taste, is that and the intention to open a second Don Rubens. Where are you in that process, and what is Nudwa taste?
So Nadu Taste is actually my holding company. And we had to create that company so I can go ahead and have Don Rubens. Right now, there's been a lot of people that have approached me. They want to invest. They want to start opening all around Saudi Arabia, but I want to make sure I do it right, because I do want to expand, but I want to make sure that my quality stays the same. And unfortunately, that's what happens in the restaurant business. It's when you're not hands-on, and other people take it, just kind of like, what is this burger? In-N-Out. I
Yeah.
used to say, why aren't they everywhere? But that's the same thing. They wanted to make sure that where they open, everything stays, true to the recipes. And having a Mexican restaurant hasn't been easy, because it's been very difficult for me to actually find a lot of the ingredients. And as a Mexican and having the Mexican chef, we're able to play around and make the ingredient ourselves. So if you were to have somebody who is not Mexican and they can't find that ingredient, it's not going to come out the same. So I want to make sure that I cover every base before I move on and expanding.
I have a personal experience with that, and I really appreciate that and respect that approach. Our oldest son went to school in North Carolina, and there's a biscuit chain called Biscuitville there, and the owner will not open a restaurant more than an hour and a half from where he is, because he wants to have quality control, which
Absolutely.
frustrates my wife intensely, because she loves Biscuitville, but it's 5 hours away.
I
whenever,
love that.
whenever we're traveling south, if we're anywhere remotely close to a Biscuitville, we have to go to a Biscuitville. But anyway,
And stock up.
exactly. Well, let's talk about the restaurant scene, and one of the and by the way, congratulations, because Don Rubens was recognized in Time Out Riyadh in their restaurant survey as one of the top Latin American restaurants in Riyadh, and I'm sure that maybe, I think you were already popular in bouncing, but that probably bumped up interest as well. But for context, Time Out, the magazine, was established in 1968. It does restaurant surveys now in 333 cities in 59 countries. It did its first Time Out, restaurant review in Dubai 17 years ago. It didn't do a Time Out Riyadh review until last year, and because there really wasn't a reason to. But now the scene is just exploding, and you're part of this. Can you talk a little bit about all the fascinating things that are going on in the restaurant business in Riyadh and Saudi Arabia?
Well, I think with the 2030 vision, and Saudi Arabia trying to bring in more tourism, that's why it's exploding, because people know that with the tourists, they're demanding different types of food, so they want to cater to all of the tourists. But it's something incredible. I mean, I hear every week there's a restaurant or a coffee shop opening. But having said that, I think a lot of people are taking chances. Before, I noticed a lot of people didn't do feasibility studies, and that's something that I suggest for everyone to do and to have before opening a restaurant, because as fast as they open, they close as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
isn't that true globally?
You're right. It's hit or miss with the restaurant business, with the F&B. You're absolutely right.
It's a tough business, and you sent a WhatsApp message. I think every WhatsApp message you sent, and I can always tell when people are super busy because they're always audio messages.
That's a Saudi wide thing now. It's all just Saudi.
Well, but every Nora, each time you send a message, frequently, you have that you're at the restaurant, and there's all sorts of noise
in the
going
back
on, and it sounds really busy and active, and you're in the middle of it.
I'm either in the car or I'm in the restaurant, so that's where the audio comes from, because I can't type. But I'm
Nora,
hands on my business. And
where is your family from? I know you were born in San Diego. I've been fortunate to travel, and Richard has as well, to a lot of places in Mexico, West Coast, East Coast, Mexico City. Where is your family originally from in Mexico?
So Don Reuben, this is from my mother's side. They're actually Familia Tapia. Originally, my grandfather was from Basco, Spain, migrated to Mexico, and they're from Michoacan.
Okay.
And my father's side, rest in peace, his family originally was from Guanajuato, and then they went down to Tijuana, Mexico.
I think Mexico City is one of the top, at least my top 3 cities for food globally. It's unbelievable.
Oh, yeah,
can't recommend
absolutely.
it higher enough. I mean, it's just incredible.
But for me, it's Oaxaca. Oaxaca is the hands down. I mean, it has the best food. I think it's the cuisine stays very true to the heritage and culture. Of course, every region has its own way of preparing the food, even to their drinks. So it's very, very different, and it varies a lot from region to region. But I think Oaxaca and the capital city of Mexico, they're probably, both of them are up there in my.
Are there, do you find similarities between Mexican culture and Saudi culture?
Well, actually, Mexico, the Arabic food, especially Lebanese and Turkish food. And the tacos de pastor originated from the Turkish people.
Fascinating. So you mentioned that the tourist, I mean, is your clientele at Don Reuben's, is it primarily Saudis or primarily tourists, or a 50-50 mix?
I think about maybe Saudi. And tourists, I've seen a few tourists, but mostly they're foreigners, military. I am in the diplomat quarter, so I do get a lot of people from the embassies.
And the diplomatic quarter, when I was, I first lived in Saudi Arabia in the 80s, and the DQ was going up at the time when I was first there. It's much more accessible and much more popular now. At the time, it really wasn't where people went, except unless they had a meeting. Now it's a social place to go.
It is. They said it'll be the new business hub. It's still pretty difficult to actually access. So when people come in, they're constantly telling me, "Can you just go out? Open up another place outside." So I'm actually in the midst of actually purchasing a food truck, because I decided just to go ahead and concentrate a little bit more in my restaurant, do a couple of changes, because I've just been open barely a year, and do the food truck in the evening, and just kind of station it out, different places throughout Riyadh. But
because you're not busy enough, right?
Because I'm not busy enough, exactly. Yeah, I'm
Do you
starting to
have?
do events.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, no.
I was just
Go
gonna
ahead.
ask. Do you so on your like drink menu, your bebitas? Do you have sort of the standard offering of authentic Mexican drinks, just sans alcohol?
So we have the jarritos, number one, which are the traditional sodas in Mexico. I do serve the three top aguas frescas, which in every business in Mexico has to have, which is the agua de Jamaica, agua de tamarindo, and agua de horchata. I just actually did a small talk regarding the waters. The agua de Jamaica, which is the hibiscus water, it actually originated from the Egyptians. And agua de tamarindo originated from India, and agua de horchata from Rome. But these are the three top waters that we have to have in every restaurant and household. And then again, depending on the region and different weather conditions, the waters start to vary. So like in the summer, you'll see a lot of agua de pepino, which is cucumber water, agua de sandia, watermelon. And now in the summer, that's what I've been doing. I'm playing around with different waters, and those sell like crazy. People just love it.
Huh.
Amazing.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Have you had
And
it?
piña colada.
Have you, in terms of clientele, have you seen a drop off at all, or has it remained strong? Because as you say, there's a tremendous amount of restaurants that open, depends number of restaurants that open and don't last.
So thank God, my sales keep going up every month.
Wow.
And I did no marketing. Again, like I said, to be honest, I hate to say this, but I believed I was going to fail. When I was opening, I was trying to look for investors. Nobody wanted to touch my business. They'd say, "No, you're going to fail." They literally told me that there's no money in this. When I told them I was opening up in the Diplomat Quarter, they said absolutely not. One gentleman was about to start business with me, but when he was looking at the area, he's like, "There's not enough customer base here." I said, "Okay." I went ahead, and it took me a year to open the place. I don't know if you came to the restaurant, but I was very hands-on everything. I did my own tables, I painted, I did my own sink. So it's very homemade, and you can tell it's kind of wear and tear now. Um, uh, but slowly it's been growing. So now I'm starting to invest a little bit more in the restaurant. But thank God, yeah, it's literally growing organically. And that's the way I wanted to. I didn't want to invest too much in case I did fail.
Apart from your 14-year-old, are any of your kids involved in the enterprise?
My son Mohammed, he actually helps me with financials. My daughter Hassa, Instagram, a little bit of the social media. My son Khalid, he comes in, tastes the food. So my daughter Haya will bring in her friends. So that's
I was gonna volunteer for that job.
I
Dang.
know exactly. But
because we do different specials. We bring out different things during the week. So just try to keep the customers happy. And they always come in, they're like, "Is there something new on the menu?" And we're like, "Yeah, we have this today." So
that's wonderful. It's a family affair.
Pork is huge, and so you can't serve that, right, in your menu.
right. So I'll alternate things. For example, the tacos de pastor will use chicken, which is, white meat, and it tastes pretty much the same because I use the achiote. When we do the beans, I'll add turkey bacon instead of pork bacon. So there's different stuff. My homemade tortillas, I make them with vegetable shortening. So we do have a huge client base of vegans and vegetarians. So it definitely appeals to them.
This is fascinating. I mean, you're truly, a pure entrepreneur and founder, and A to Z in terms of making this happen. And it's got to be, as you look. I think that's interesting on the food truck. As you look to expand, I mean, you have a real challenge because so much of Don Reuben's is you, and there's only so much of you to go around. So it'll be interesting because I suspect now you probably wouldn't have difficulty finding investors.
No, I wouldn't. But yeah, I think it's kind of at this point right now, I just want to, I'm probably working about 30% of my capacity. I want to just make sure that I build a strong structure, foundation. And if I do decide to sell or do decide to take on a partner, I know at least what I'm worth, what the company's worth. But for now, I can't even do a financial evaluation because I'm not working to my capacity. I just increased my hours by 1 hour because I was closing at 9, and people are like, do you know that this is Saudi Arabia? People are eating at 2, 3 in the morning. But it was kind of like a marketing gimmick because by 7:30, people are rushing to the restaurant. So we would get this, huge line. I mean, there was a couple of times that we actually had to close just so we can refresh everything because I had the line that would go outside. It's been crazy.
Richard, I'm looking at the Instagram right now, and I am so hungry. I missed breakfast this morning.
This is your daughter's work, right?
Daughter's work, yeah.
Yes. Yes, my daughter.
At donreubens.sa, check it out. Oh my gosh, this looks amazing.
Will you be there later this month, Lucian?
Yes, I will, and my family will be coming as well. So you will see four of us at your restaurant. I'm definitely going to go. And Richard, we talked really briefly just before. International cities outside of the Americas rarely have a very authentic Mexican restaurant. There are a lot of imitations. You get a lot of, like you said, Tex-Mex. And it just does not scratch the itch in the same way. And so this is really cool.
No, just make sure you let me know. We do everything fresh. We're in the restaurant by 7:30. We start the flautas, the salsas. We do volcanes.
Amazing.
Something runs out, that's it.
Are you able to find good Saudi employees?
Yes, I actually have 3 right now. Most of them are baristas. A lot of them do work in the coffee shop industry. My cashier. We have a couple of chefs that, are trying to come in and they're saying, can you give me a chance? So by speaking about chefs, I'm seeing the competition now starting to grow. So there's a lot of little places now popping up here and there, very similar to mine, which is great. But that's why I need to step up my game and just, make sure that I concentrate on my dishes more than anything and try to, take on new different items, new challenges, because like I said, there's a lot of people now trying to open up taco shops, and it'll continue.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, but as you say, we'll see if they can, follow in your footsteps.
Yeah, it's market validation. I mean, it shows that people love what you're doing. So that's good.
No, absolutely. So it's flattering to me. But the thing is that a lot of them do have a lot more money to actually invest and put into the business. So, I mean, there's a restaurant opening up, I think, in a few months. And I went and I looked at the restaurant and it's like, oh, God, if I had a place like that, it was just beautiful, very high end. But I think it'll be more like Mexican fusion.
Yeah,
I'm against fusion with Mexican food. I just think, you have to stay true to your culture and heritage.
It doesn't need to be fused. It's delicious enough as it is, and it's authentic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It has to be simple, just with the beautiful colors and the salsa. It's very simple. That was one of the challenges because people here are used to all these sauces and creams on everything. So some of my reviews, I've become kind of popular because the way I comment on my reviews, people say I take it very personal, but I'm like, well, why wouldn't I? I'm not this huge company. It's a, mom and pop shop. So I've literally told people to go eat at Taco Bell. Nothing.
Which is good too. In my opinion, I like Taco Bell, but it is a totally different cuisine.
I'm going to be honest with you. But that's just something that, growing up in San Diego, like I remember after like a football game, we'd all go to Taco Bell.
Do you come back to the US much?
After COVID, I haven't been back since COVID, but I will be going in June. I'm so excited. So hoping to stay in Coronado, just by the beach. I miss home a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure family misses you too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. We're planning, and my mom's having a huge party, and I told my mom, just whatever you do, don't have a taquiza, a taco thing. I said, I don't want to see another taco.
Anything but that.
But she said, it's too late. We're going to have a taco.
Are you seeing, Nora, because you're bringing unique talent to this and obviously an energy and a determination that is unique to you and someone who's really committed to their craft. Are you seeing more Saudi born, more Saudi sort of authentic restaurants open up?
Yeah. And fusion Saudi food as well. You were here. It's it's amazing what, we have a lot of foodies. That's what they call themselves, foodies. And it's great to see, because that was something that was kind of a taboo for Saudis to be in that industry back in the day.
Yeah.
So it's something beautiful. I mean, I've just like artists, musicians and whatnot. It's Saudi's just it's growing really, really fast. I mean, it's F&B. It's something to reckon with, to be honest. I mean, it's a big boom.
Yeah. Fascinating. And as I said, it's sufficient and exciting and creative enough for, place things like Time Out to notice. And the last one, first one last year, they'll do another one this year. I'm sure it'll be much, increasingly competitive every year. Which makes it exciting, because you were commended and recognized as a really notably good restaurant in Riyadh. So that's something.
Yeah, thank you so much. I was actually shocked, when they called me and they said, you were one of the restaurants that has been nominated. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, okay, this is great. And then when I got the award, I mean, the tears were just coming down my face.
Norah, this is exciting. And Lucian, I'm not sure if you want to add on this. I don't want to get too far afield. I have a lot of questions, but I think we've gotten to your story and how exciting it is and how unique it is in Riyadh. And I hope we can continue to follow, because I'll be interested to see how the food truck does, and if that leads to even more things in your next restaurant.
Absolutely. And the fun thing is that I've people have taken an interest. I had NBC1, which is something similar to maybe like Fox. They came from Dubai to do a huge piece on me. I did a lecture the other day to Mexican cuisine. We just did another one in Arabia News, and I did the whole show in Arabic. My Arabic,
Wow.
it's not the best, but that was quite interesting. So yeah, it's been great. I'm so happy that we're able to teach people the Mexican gastronomy here in Saudi. It's
That's
awesome.
very impressive. And you started learning Arabic back in 1994, 96, or
No,
97 when you first got
2005.
there?
No. I mean, when I was back in the States, I didn't, I mean, my husband would speak, my ex-husband, and I didn't understand anything. But once I came in 2005, my daughter Hessa started literally kindergarten the next day. So I said, okay, let me go ahead and learn Arabic with her. And I would sit there, do homework with her, and learn my alphabet. And just, when I would go to the parties, everybody spoke in Arabic. So I started to focus a lot, and I taught myself.
Amazing.
That's really impressive.
Restaurateur Norah Ortiz, founder of the popular authentic Mexican restaurant Don Reuben's, the original, located in the Diplomatic Corridor. Norah, this was so fun, and I'm really hungry, as I said, and I hope to see you in a few weeks when I'll be there to
You have
sample.
my Instagram. You ask Richard for my phone number. Make sure
Yeah.
you let me know when you're coming. We'll do something special. So I'll go ahead and say this now. I'm actually going to start having breakfasts as well. So we'll have like chilaquiles, huevos
Yes.
rancheros. So hopefully by next week I'll be introducing breakfast. So that'll be something new when you come. We're waiting for you.
Lucian, your timing's perfect, and I'm extremely jealous.
Amazing. Be prepared to be shocked at how much I can eat, by the way. Be prepared to be very shocked. But yes, very much looking forward to it.
Well, I'm looking forward to meeting you. Thank you so much.